All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the after show. This is, again, not Go for StarCraft, but just a game we're casting on a really unique map afterwards. Spawning here in the top right corner of the map, it is no longer my co-caster, just another player, the Zerg player, Sabre. Of course, all the minerals are in boxes in both of the mains because they look cool. And his buddy in the lower left corner of the map, you might know from chat, is Ronski. Oh, I just introduced him there. Kind of a lame intro, but nonetheless, it is our green Zerg player, Ronski. Now, there's a couple cool things about this map. It's really uniquely designed, but the key thing here is if you look in the main, there are rocks that open up a second entrance to your main base. This is kind of the one point of contention of the map where a lot of people have looked at this map and initially said, hey, this map looks perfect, except for this one small minor detail. The natural and the third bases, pretty close together, kind of good for Zerg all around, and of course, the rush distances, there's rocks in the middle, but you can run around them with the ramps. There's no watchtowers on this map either, and of course, the corner bases are really secluded, really far away, and actually very easy to sneak bases with, I feel, but of course, because this is a newer map, no one's really had a chance to play on it yet, we haven't seen any crazy tactics tailored specifically to this map yet. But yeah, one of the biggest things for Terran players, like, I guess it'd be less problematic for Zerg. Knocking down those rocks might actually even be a little more helpful, I guess, at times. But one of the biggest problems for Terran players right now is, like, how do you hold that roach all in? Like, if you put your wall up here at the natural / main entrance, they could bust in through the rocks. What are you going to do with all your bunkers out of position other than just die? So that's been a problem. I've cast a couple of TVZs on this map and one TVP, and all of them have come down to problems with the rocks so far. Ronski, though, not adept at being a probe. Can't quite pull it off. Trying to delay that hatchery for as long as he can. His is also come down just ever so slightly later. Not a big deal. And by having his droning scout across the field right now, this isn't anything particularly amazing, but what this does is allow him to rule out any possibility of crazy builds. I mean, we just came out of a series at the end of Go for StarCraft with Mouse Hope versus Jagon, where Hope was just doing all these crazy mind game builds. Perhaps Ronski was saying, hey, if he just finished casting a bunch of mind game builds, maybe he's willing to play a bunch of mind game builds. So I like that he actually chose to actively scout this. This could also be Ronski's typical thing. I haven't actually cast too much of him, as he's someone I often hang out with in chat, but don't actually see compete. Scumbag riffing bailing on his co-caster. Yeah, my very polite goodbye to him as I wished him luck in the game. What a scumbag move. Gas coming down for Sabre. Same with Ronski. I gotta say, honestly, most ZVZs, players will play this to a T in a bit of a mirror matchup. As long as they're equally matched, up until about the point of 6 minutes, that's when you'll see the big divergence of, like, one player goes for tech, one player goes for the layer, one player goes for roaches. We'll have to just wait a few moments and see, because truthfully and honestly, the fact that these guys are both pretty well, how do I phrase this better? They're both very intelligent. But they both probably could think the game 10 times better than they could play. We'll just have to see how good their execution is to follow their brains. God, that still kind of sounds like I'm being condescending. I'm trying to say they're both very smart, though, is what the bottom line is for this. I've talked with Ronski hundreds of times in the past. Sabre I just got through an entire cast with. No real qualms with him either. Spinecrawler coming down here from Ronski. Gonna play it very safe. Getting the one Spinecrawler is okay, but of course it's gonna kind of delay what you can do with your layer, if it is gonna be a quick layer. Yeah, links passing each other in the night, just coming through the middle of the map. There's also, that's the other kind of nice thing about this map. Because there's so many different exits and entrances around, sorry, watch the lings get poked at here, I guess. But as I super zoom out, actually, hang on, will we get first blood?
First blood.
First blood! Anyways, as you super zoom out around the map, you can see here there's a lot of extra different pathways you can take to get around this map, trying to circumvent your opponent's vision. And I didn't actually notice there's actually more rocks, or sorry, it's not rocks, high grass. Sorry, I thought that was rocks, like here, but yeah, Ronski getting both of his lings out alive, so small advantage, but emphasis on small this early in the game. Really curious to see if this will be Roach Wars. Seems to be the typical go-to on this map, or not on this map. What am I saying here? This is like one of the few, like 5 times I've ever cast this map. I mean, in this match-up. Roaches have become a very common occurrence. Ronski actually going to snipe off a couple overlords here. Sabre, really nicely done. Going to chase it into one queen into the other. Of course, a queen off creep can already chase down an overlord with relative ease. Sabre going to rush across the field though with quite a few lings. Going to try and maybe take advantage of the queen being out of position. But Ronski, with 14 of his own lings on the way, will have no problem deflecting this. Meanwhile, will he start chipping away these back rocks? Has either player noticed that there are back rocks? That's actually a potential that they've both missed it. Of course, should be aware of that eventually, sooner or later. Meanwhile, Sabre just going for his third happily while this goes on. Ronski with quite a few links on the map, but a lot more coming up behind this, looking to be very aggressive. 4 banelings coming in at home, but of course, with this many links, you can't sit at home. You have to go and be aggressive. It's a huge waste to like have forgone the drones, for lost the larva, and not done anything with these lings. Now he has kind of shown, unfortunately, Sabre's got his map covered here quite nicely. Ramps completely in vision, sees these lings spreading across the field, sprinting across the field rather. Some banelings at home for him as well, so we're going to see some nice baneling aggression. Sabre definitely doesn't have the lings on his side, though. He's going to rely on these banelings to get some good hits. Going to be a tense here as he tries to get close. Ronski, however, coming across the field with, ooh, not a good baneling hit at all. His own banelings will be coming here ever so slowly. But, ooh, man, Sabre just barely can't get these hits off. But Ronski, of course, not doing too much damage himself. Oh, both players got to be so careful. The ling aggression is such a critical stage of this game. And, ooh, a really nice hit there for Ronski. Sabre loses his last couple of banelings on the field. One more baneling coming in. Ace in the hole. Can this do it? Queen is not focused firing it down. And, ooh, lots more lings do go down. Checking the link out right now. It's looking good for Sabre to hold this, but both players losing pretty much their entire armies. Meanwhile, Ronski, I guess, while this was going on, misrallied one of the overlords. A little bit hectic there towards the end. But yeah, Sabre coming across the field with round 2. Both players actually go for the Spire behind this. We're having a bit of a flashback here to, I guess, 2-3 months ago when Mutalisks were kind of the big deal. This match, I can tell you guys already, is good and very anticlimactically. That is the nature of Mutalisks versus Mutalisks battles, but we'll see what upgrades tell, because some players, like, if you're going to do this absolutely correctly to the T, you get Mutalisks, you get about 8 right away, you forego the 9th or 10th Mutalisk in order to get armor upgrades. But Ronski actually holding this quite nicely. Neither player quite able to pick off the other's 3rd. Gas is going to be so critical. You need those 5th and 6th geysers if you're going to dedicate to Mutalisks. And 4 already on the way here out of Sabre. 7, sorry. The big question is, does he go for that quick armor upgrades? Kind of a big deal when it comes down to those Mutal Wars. Meanwhile, Ronski, I got to say, he's got a really healthy ling count on the ground right now. 35-3. While Sabre might have the earlier Mutalisks, if these lings run underneath them, if they just go straight for the throat and try and attack his opponent's base, the Mutalisks will not clean those up. Not effectively and not quickly, at least. You know, Ronski, I want to point out, despite having his 3rd base, doesn't have this 5th and 6th geyser yet. That's really going to hurt him in these upcoming Muta Wars. Everyone knows with Mutalisk versus Mutalisk, sometimes one Muta makes all the difference. And Ronski knows his opponent's doing this. 3 Spore Crawlers coming down immediately. This first one will not finish in time. Unless they focus down the Queen, maybe in other such things. Of course, you can't transfuse a building that's in progress. Can he get the transfuse off as soon as it finishes, though? He's got energy for it. No transfuse, a small mistake out of Ronski. That could have been the difference between 2 or 3 more Mutalisks. But yeah, Ronski, for those who don't know, resident Base Straight TV fanboy in chat, proving that he's not just an avid watcher, he can actually play this game. So he is holding for the time being, but holding, of course, as we all know, is not going to be enough. You got to be a little bit aggressive, and there we go. We see Link starting to shoot across the field. But of course, the scary thing for Ronski is he doesn't have map control anymore. The overlords were picked off and cleaned up by these Mutalisks, so he can't see decisively where it's safe to go. In fact, we look at his vision, and it's really not a lot. Ronski, without the map control, Sabre taking such big dominance here, actually decided to forego his Spire by the looks of it, or not forego his Spire, but lack the Mutalisks for now, relying on the Spore Crawlers, kind of realizing, like, hey, if I have Mutalisks on the field, I've got about 4, but I can't engage my opponent. He's got way too many. There we go, 8 more on the way, and Sabre, meanwhile, kind of forwent his, I just thought about Ronski forgoing upgrades, decided not to invest in the Mutalisks too much. He's going to transition into Roaches immediately afterwards. A very common move out of this. Take the initial map control. Hey, my opponent's got Spores, I can't end the game. I'm going to definitely invest in the future, and in this case, it's going to be Roaches. Infestation pick coming out too. Curious enough to see what he's going to see come out of this. I guess having Infestors available is always going to be nice. Roach Infestors, a great combination of units, especially if you get those Burrow. You go for the super SAA tactics. Some of you may know what that means. I'm not going to divulge what that means for those who don't. But, yeah, Mutalisks going to just kind of pick away at the geyser for the time being. Can't really do too much. Ronski's not only got the home field advantage, he's finally got more Mutalisks than his opponent, 15-9. And of course, Spore Crawlers, Queens, Transfuses. There's just no way for Sabre to take an engagement. But Ronski, I don't think, realizes he has such a stark advantage in Mutalisk numbers, or he could move out and start picking off these Overlords, cleaning up that map control. Sabre is already retreating some of the Overlords home, recognizing, hey, yeah, these are probably going to die. But this is really cool. The transition out of this is going to work really nicely. There's that Pathogen Gland, so it's definitely going to be Infestors coming out behind this. Roaches, of course, very tanky units, very buff units. Mutalisks can, of course, kill them quite decently, but Ronski's investing in so much armor upgrades right now. This is really going to hurt him because his opponent is not going with Mutalisks. He's not going with Hydralisks. He's going to try and win a ground fight. Now picks off that Geyser really nicely done. Kind of actually a big deal here towards the end of the game, or not the end of the game, the mid game I should say, because gas is so critical. Can pick off this one Spore Crawler, decides not to, backs off for the time being. Again, it's kind of hard to assess whether you have more wings flapping than your opponent has wings flapping, but as we see here, Ronski going to play it a little bit safe for the time being. Supply actually dead even for the time being. Resources lost. A little bit better for Ronski right now. Of course, a lot of that was the trading in the early game with the Lings and the Banelings. There we go. Now the Overlord's going to be started picked off. 13 Infestors, though. Holy schmoly. Ronski getting his own Infestation Pit behind this. Of course, going to be a little bit behind his opponent, but this is a lot of Infestors. This means Infested Terrans. This means Fungals. It means, more importantly, he can actually deal with the Mutalisks. One good Fungal is all you need. Fourth base is shut down. Catches a couple drones to go hand in hand with that. Opponent also supply blocked, albeit temporarily. And Sabre kind of recognizes, hey, my Mutalisks are not getting the map control I once had. I don't have Overlords on the field. I'm going to try and spread some Lings, I imagine. Just to scout. Yeah, this one going to poke away at the fourth base of Ronski. But Ronski is looking to be in a good position if he can maintain this fourth base. I mean, yes, there are Infestors on the field, but you guys got to remember, Fungal Growth, it doesn't do the damage it used to. It's not that big of a threat. It's scary for sure, but it's not game-ending. But with so many damn Infestors on the field, Infested Terrans are going to be very prevalent here. Nice Baneling hits connecting to the beginning of this army. And Ronski's just going to be deterred for the time being. Oh, huge Ling swell is going to be forced backwards. Can try and come around the north here and get into the third base if he can pull that off. But Sabre was in pretty strong defense here with these Infestors. Because Lings, I mean, they're scary, but of course, Fungal Growth. I think it's like 2 Fungals kills Lings, not a problem. Mutalisks still just swarm around the map. Ronski kind of realizing, hey, my opponent's transitioned out of Mutalisks. I should also do the same. He's got some Burrow tactics coming up here. But Sabre's, of course, much further ahead of him. Going for the Banelings, a little curious about this choice as well. I mean, Ronski's going to be investing in the Banelings, getting centrifugal hooks for the speed on those Banelings as well. But his opponent, again, those Infestors, man, all it takes is one good Fungal and 12 Banelings get stopped in their tracks. But the fourth base being now up for Ronski for quite a bit of time. Gonna really start paying dividends here as we get further and further into the game. Sabre, though, with a massive supply lead right now. I want to comment on this. It's kind of huge. It's a little bit inflated because it is primarily Roaches, but it's a supply lead nonetheless. And Ronski, despite having a lot of Mutalisks on the field, cannot really clean up these Roaches very quickly. Fourth base will be saved, but here we go. Mutalisks going to come in. They don't care about these Spore Crawlers. See, he'll lose 1 Mutalisk per Spore Crawler, but the clump, oh, the Fungal Growth is not in range of the Spore Crawler. Just barely. Second Fungal going to kill these Mutalisks, but Ronski only losing 2? That's not a problem whatsoever. Meanwhile, Ling's still flooding across the field, gonna try and shut down this fourth base, but this is too many damn Roaches. The Mutalisks are not with this, and Ronski is committing to a suicide attack here with these Lings. Gonna fall back immediately. He's got Banelings with this army, awkwardly. He's trying to combine those 2 words into awkwardly, I guess, but burrows most of this. Did Sabre see that burrow? Oh my god, if the Infestors walk over the Banelings. Oh no, wastes the Banelings. That could have been really big for Ronski, actually. I kind of wish he would have left the Banelings unburrowed the Lings specifically and only. Because Sabre would have absolutely thought, hey, he like unburrowed everything, he retreated, my Infestors are safe. But now he knows, like, okay, I've got to be careful. There are burrow tactics available on the field. Lots of Lings, lots of Banelings. Ronski's sticking to this Ling Muta composition. I really worried for him right now. These Infestors are trying to get some Fungals off. Nice skill shot, catches a couple of them. I mean, it's not a lot, but those are still, it's units for energy. Not to mention he can litter the field. But Baneling's going to connect all of the Infestors. Big hits go down. Burrow goes off to try and save this. Roach is, of course, going to try and... they're going to ball up here quite nicely, but big Fungals will go off on the Mutalisks. But this will... Oh, I think, yes, with 2 more Fungals locked and loaded, he can kill this clump of Mutas. Ronski losing so much behind this, though, but his late-game transition is here. It's about to kick in. Ultralisk Cavern on the way. Sabre is investing in Corruptors behind this, looking to perhaps go for a reverse transition into the late game. I don't know. 19 Corruptors is a huge dedication, though. It's almost too much, I fear. The Ultralisk Cavern's finishing up, though, but he's not going to have them on the field. Ronski has to hold for a little bit longer. There's not a lot of Roaches here, but there's enough. There's enough to kill a lot of workers. The Infestors are trying to deal with the last couple of Mutalisks. Fungal Growths are going off. And this is actually both players got to clean it up evenly here. Ronski going to lose his fourth base. It's going to be a little bit devastating to his economy. But 4 Ultras on the way. And Roaches will they're completely capable of kiting the Ultras around. If they take a straight-up fight, the Ultras will win. Fungal Growth cannot lock Ultras in place, and of course, Corruptors, they're scary against air, but not against ground. And looks like Sabre's actually going to be going for that reverse transition I was talking about here, with the Broodlords coming up as that final in-game unit. 6 Ultras. Man, this is going to be crazy. Ultras versus... this is a game, I know it's a fun game and it's a weird game and it's not for the tournament, but this is a really great game nonetheless if we can get to that stage. But Ronski, only just now with the Ultras coming up, may not be able to get there. He's trying to do what he can to hold on to this, but the couple of Ultras that are coming in, they're coming in one at a time, and he's gonna... These Roaches are so weak, but the Ultras are getting... Again, coming in one at a time, really working against him here, but with only... Oh god, Ronski has got to hide his Overlords. The Corruptors can supply block him if they kill all the Overlords. Ronski just going to go with a good game, though. And we're not going to get to see those Broodlords. Don't give up! No, I didn't get to type it in time. But okay, a pretty cool game. A pretty awesome late game Zerg scenario. Sabre going to take the victory there, but hats off to Ronski for playing. I thank you very much, sir.